Everyone thinks they understand heartbreak, but you don't truly understand it until someone you love looks at you one last time and then walks away as if you never existed. You sit there, numb, trying to breathe through the silence, trying to hold back tears that burn like acid. You stare at your phone, hoping for a message that never comes. You scroll through memories that used to feel like home, and now they feel like ruins. You start to ask yourself, how can someone who once loved me so deeply be so cold now? How can someone who promised forever move on like I was just a temporary story? That's when the pain turns into confusion, and confusion turns into silence. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you know they wouldn't understand even if you did. You try to talk to your friends, but they tell you to move on. They say you deserve better. And maybe they're right. But late at night, when the world goes quiet, your heart still whispers their name. And that's when you realize you're not fighting them anymore. You're fighting your own mind. You start to replay everything, the last words, the final message, the empty goodbye. And deep down, you begin to think maybe it was your fault. Maybe if you were more patient, more understanding, more perfect, they would have stayed. But here's the truth. They don't want you to know. It was never about being enough. It was about being convenient. And when you stopped being convenient, they left. They didn't leave because you lacked something. They left because they couldn't handle your depth. They couldn't handle the version of love that sees through masks. But now, your silence is about to become your greatest weapon. Because silence isn't weakness. It's not giving up. It's transformation. When you stop explaining yourself, you take back power. When you stop chasing, you stop bleeding. And when you stop waiting for closure, you start healing. They think your silence means surrender, but they have no idea. It's the sound of you rebuilding yourself brick by brick. If you've ever been the one left behind, if you've ever loved someone who didn't see your worth, type in the comments right now. I've been there. Because by the end of this video, you'll see how silence can turn heartbreak into power. When someone leaves you, the most powerful thing you can do is disappear. Not out of anger, not out of pride, but because silence creates curiosity, and curiosity creates attachment. The human brain hates emptiness. When you disappear without drama, their mind starts to fill the gaps. They'll wonder, did I mean nothing? Are they already over me? Are they with someone else? They'll check your profile. They'll ask mutual friends. They'll replay your old messages. Because your absence has now become louder than your presence ever was. And you remain calm. You post nothing. You explain nothing. You simply let them fill the void they created. That's when the shift begins. Your silence becomes magnetic, and their peace starts to crumble. But this isn't just about them. This is where your transformation begins. While they're lost in questions, you begin to find answers. You wake up earlier. You start focusing on your body, your mind, your peace. You cut off things that drain you. You become disciplined, not for them, but for you. And the funny thing about peace is it glows. You won't have to show it off. You won't have to post quotes about healing. People will just feel it. Because peace doesn't scream, it radiates. One day, they'll see you again, in a photo or maybe in person. And for a moment, they'll freeze. Because you'll look familiar, but different. Lighter, stronger, untouchable. They'll smile and say, "You look good." But what they really mean is, "I can't believe I lost you." That's when regret begins to whisper. Not because they miss the old you, but because the new you doesn't need them anymore. And that's what destroys them. Sometimes they'll reach out. A simple, "Hey, how are you? Just checking in." Don't be fooled. That's not love. That's curiosity mixed with guilt. So you respond with calm detachment. I'm doing well. Hope you're good too. No emotion, no begging, no history. Just peace. That one message will echo in their mind like thunder. Because it says, I moved on, and I didn't need to announce it. They'll scroll through old conversations trying to find the version of you they once controlled. But that person, gone. And here's what's beautiful. You didn't need revenge. You didn't need to make them jealous. You simply healed. If you're at this stage right now, healing quietly, type in I choose silence. Let the world know your peace doesn't need noise. You see, silence doesn't mean you've stopped caring. It means you've started respecting yourself. You stop explaining your worth to people who only wanted your energy, not your soul. You stop giving discounts on your love. You stopped auditioning for a role in someone else's temporary story. Because now you understand something powerful. Attention isn't affection, consistency is. And silence helps you see who was only around for the sound of your voice, not the value of your heart. From this point on, you don't chase, you attract. You don't beg, you become. You don't fight for space, you create it. That's the shift. That's growth. That's what real self-love looks like. Now, take a second right where you are, breathe in deeply, and whisper to yourself, I'm proud of me. Because even if no one else sees how hard you're trying, you're still here, rebuilding. And that's something to celebrate. If you're still watching, it means this message is speaking directly to your heart. So before we go further, hit that like button right now, not for me, but as a promise to yourself that you're done explaining your worth to the wrong people. Now I want you to imagine this. You're walking into a place where you once felt small. Maybe it's a cafe you used to go to with them. Maybe it's a memory that still hurts. But this time you walk in different. Head high, shoulders back. Your energy calm, grounded, magnetic. People feel it. Because healed energy is louder than any words. And then one day, that person who broke you will see you again. And for a moment, they'll wish they could start over. They'll remember every moment they made you doubt yourself. But now, they're not yours to hurt anymore. You've evolved. That's what silence gives you. Evolution without permission. It teaches you to protect your peace like it's the most expensive thing you own. It makes you realize you don't need closure from people who never gave you honesty. And here's something to remember forever. The way people treat you is never a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their awareness. So stop lowering your light to fit inside someone else's shadow. If this line hits you, pause for a second and type, I'm protecting my peace. Because writing it makes it real. This is your reminder. You're not difficult. You are deep. Now take a moment to imagine your future self. Stronger, calmer, more radiant than ever before. You've stopped chasing, stopped explaining, stopped proving. You just exist. Beautifully, powerfully, silently. They'll think about you sometimes. They'll remember the softness they once took for granted. They'll reach for their phone and then stop themselves. Because they'll realize the person they once hurt is now someone they can't reach anymore. And that's not revenge. That's justice through growth. That's the beauty of silence. It doesn't demand attention, it creates it. So my friend, if you're still watching, this is your final reminder tonight. You are not broken. You are becoming. Your silence is not weakness, it's evolution. It's the sound of your boundaries forming, your strength rebuilding, and your future unfolding. If this message touched you, type in the comments,
I'm becoming stronger. Because you are. Every time you choose peace over chaos, you're rewriting your story. And before you go, subscribe to this channel right now. Not because it helps the algorithm, but because every week I'll remind you of what silence can teach you. I'll remind you that healing doesn't need to be loud, it just needs to be real. So hit subscribe, leave a shooting star emoji in the comments to let me know you're part of this quiet revolution. And never forget, when silence becomes power, you never lose again.